number of busy meetings, so it's nice to have a shorter agenda, although I do have some pretty heavy stuff here to present. I will start out, I believe, with the proposed county budget for 2021. As the county code dictates, we are to put this on the table and on display for a minimum of 20 days. If you approve today to add or to just put it on display and introduce the budget, then it'll be out there for action on the 24th of December. Could possibly go as late as next Thursday. Would have to be a special meeting date and then act finally on the 31st. But I think we're prepared enough here to well, I know we are prepared enough to present it to you for a proposed budget. Again, thank you to Angel in the Controller's Office for a lot of the heavy lifting on this. It was a very unusual year to do the county budget with a lot of things being remote. We did not have in-person county budget hearings. The way we conducted things, as you know, is that the departments all met with Angel to submit their budgets. If a department had virtually no increase, basically a static budget from 2020 to 2021, then we really didn't feel the need to have a budget hearing to analyze all of the numbers that are in many instances staying the same as 2020. If a department had some changes or had some requests, then we had Zoom hearings with them to talk through things, and they finished those hearings with their approvals, and nothing has changed from those hearings to what you find in the budget being proposed today. This is, I would say, in my time here, probably the least dramatic budget that we've had, or that I can recall anyway. Overall, the budget is decreasing by 0.5%. That is going from 86,810,000 in 2020 to 86,368,000 for 2021. Some of the decrease are some capital projects that are being done. However, we are seeing in the general fund separately. The general fund is going down 2.15%. Now, I'll highlight a couple of the departments that are responsible for that, and also the revenue. Revenues, unfortunately, are way down, and a big part of that is interest. Interest plummeted in 2020, as everyone knows, just as the stock market did in the spring. We're getting next to nothing for the money that we've got earning interest. And at the same time, a number of the fees that are collected are down because of fewer people out and about, less sentencing and less people in jail, so on. But that all means that the revenues go down as well for the county. So that is an impact that we're feeling. Some of the highlights, I guess I'll call them, is that the county jail is going to be a static budget, essentially. It is pretty much the same for 2021 as it was for 20. We saw a dramatic decrease in the population at the jail, primarily due to COVID. A lot of the shutdowns and stay at home also resulted in less activity and crime, fewer arrests, fewer sentencings, and so on. So the jail has been hovering. We were as low as, I believe, around 240 population from a high in the mid 400s in the beginning of 2020. Now we've been hovering somewhere around the 300 to 310, and that's been pretty consistent now for several months. So with that, there are a lot of costs that go along with that, obvious costs like food and consumables and things like that are down considerably. And so there was a savings in the operations of the prison that offset the increase in the staffing costs that we always see, being a large part of every department in staffing. So I think it's notable that the county jail is an even number this year for 2021. County support to agencies such as MHID, EI, and Children and Youth are up. Children and Youth, I think we're pretty accustomed to that going up as those demands increase on us, as well as placements and various monitoring that the state continues to mandate that we add staff and lessen the caseloads per staff member. That drives those costs up. MHIDEI is one that I would point to as a casualty of COVID. They are unable to draw down the levels of reimbursements for providing case management services to consumers because of the difficulty in getting to consumers, or consumers having difficulty in getting to us, or just difficult to get a hold of. Often, I think Holly pointed out to you in her budget hearing, often people with mental health diagnosis are introverted and maybe paranoid in other ways in their life. And so COVID has only amplified that. And so dealing with those consumers and trying to reach them has been difficult. And that means that we, the case managers and caseworkers, are not able to put in the reimbursable time to the state for that. So that has resulted in a decrease in their revenue and an increase in the county support to that department. The annual required contribution for the pension fund will be fully funded again for 2021. And the salary increases, both union and non-union, are represented as court-appointed professionals, court-related non-professionals, and social services at 3.5%. Any of the ASME union, county detectives, and non-union are an even 3% in this budget. See if there's anything else there of significance that I want to highlight. Also in revenue, there was a one-time sale of county property for $700,000 that was in there for 2020 that won't be there for 2021. So we see that as a one-time revenue that's in and then back out again. So that is a cause of some of the revenue reduction. Angel, do you have anything significant that I may have missed?
No, you covered it all.
Okay. So the general fund millage would remain the same at 3.2925 mils. The general fund portion of the budget would represent 50,658,191 of the overall budget. The remainder coming from the various agencies, grants, reimbursements, etc., for a total budget of $86,368,243 for 2021. I will just maybe qualify this a little. It's not the first time I'm mentioning this. I've mentioned it all along here for the last year, and that being that you have embarked on a 911 center construction project, and that is in the planning stages right now and design stages, and you'll be getting an estimate on that construction based on some more specific design that is being done right now. I'm expecting that sometime the end of this month, and I expect that in 2021 you'll be breaking ground and borrowing the funds to pay for that project. In borrowing those funds, the debt service for the county is going to be higher than it is now. It's not going to be dollar for dollar higher, because there is some existing debt service that's going to fall away because it's timing out and you're paying it off in 2023. But the net effect is that the debt service that will be coming on for the 911 center will be higher than your existing. So in addition to that, as everybody knows, costs continue to increase for mainly the personnel and labor side of things, and that has been happening year after year. Your last millage increase was for 2016, So I guess I'm here to tell you that those two things are going to combine for 2022, and I would expect you're going to be facing a much more difficult budget and likely a millage increase for 2022 to cover those types of things. But that's not written in stone until we get to this point next year. So I guess I'm just firing a bit of a warning shot that there are some costs coming up. We can talk in depth more about the 911 center as that design comes about. Obviously, we are in a 911 facility right now that is space-wise inadequate and operationally wise, with the emergency operations center and so on, inadequate, and the state has been telling us about that for years. So it's time we have a facility that'll meet those needs for now and for many decades to come if it's designed appropriately and built well. So, and I mean for potentially a 50-year outlook on that kind of facility. But it's very expensive construction. It is, there's redundancy. You have all of the systems are redundant. It's a hardened building. It's a site that is designed for security, obviously. And all of those things make it one of the most expensive per square foot types of construction that we'll ever embark on, and this will clearly be the most expensive project the county will have seen in its history, I would say. So just wanted to lay that out, a little bit of groundwork for the 2022 budget. However, this year, in this climate and environment that we're faced with right now, with a lot of businesses struggling or worse, a lot of households struggling, this budget going down by 0.5%, no millage increase. Some of these are difficult things to get through, but we're able to do that for at least another year. So I did see a hand with Commissioner Litz.
Yes, I was wondering, Jamie, could you verbalize the ARC payment?
Oh, the annual required contribution, I believe is...
We put it in for 3.1.
3.1 million. It was 3.2 million for 2020 budget, 3.1 million for 2021. Mm-hmm. And due to the stock market doing as well as it has, and at this point, 2020 looks pretty good as long as the market holds on for the next 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then we may well see the expected return on the pension fund of 7.25% that is built into that, which would mean that the ARC may well go slightly. If it's over the 7.25, it may well go down a little bit more once we get to the point of paying it in 2021. So that is the annual court required contribution is a number that's given to us by the actuaries of the fund to say that in order to maintain this fund and keep it solvent and keep it funded, this is the amount that needs to be deposited on an annual basis.
So Jamie, would you repeat the millage rate? 3.2
2925, 3.2925 mils.
That's good. That's what I had. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the $86,368,243 budget with a millage of 3.2925.
And are we actually approving the budget now, or are we just
Putting
placing
it on display? I apologize. I correct that. Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right, I'll second that motion with that correction.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions regarding the motion or anything that is involved with the budget at this point? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And I want to echo other statements that have been made regarding the process here and how Angel and her team and Bob Metley and Jamie and his team have put this all together in a very difficult environment and with a good result for the county. Thank you.
And may I add that I think we forgot to mention the courts were very cooperative in alternative sentencing, and that helped to keep costs down at the prison as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, they were, and go ahead, Commissioner. I'm sorry.
No, well, I just, you actually alluded to it, Jamie, but I think we need to recognize our department heads and individual employees for recognizing the difficult times that we're all experiencing. And as you said, many of them came in with no increase in their budget at all. And I think they're certainly to be commended for that. So
Yes, and I appreciated hearing from them that they were grateful they didn't get laid off. And I think they all took that into consideration and just really cooperated this year. They were stellar to work with, and thank you, one and all.
Yeah, there were only a few departments that really, didn't work well with that request, and we appreciate all those efforts. And thank you very much. All right, anything else?
No.
All in favor, please say aye if we haven't done that already.
aye.
All right. Jamie, do you have anything to add? Any other?
I was just going to mention, since it was brought up about the courts, that the reimbursement from the courts, they have a fund that is the offender supervision fund that is collected from probationers who pay that on a monthly basis, and it goes into something. It goes into a fund that the judge has discretion over to use toward probation-related services. And as anyone who's been involved with the county budget over the years knows, we always, part of their discussion with the judge is what kind of reimbursement is he willing to provide to the general fund for their services. And that was a big help this year. He increased that from 2020 to 2021 by $400,000. Now, I don't think that we should expect to see that every year. I'm not sure that's sustainable for him, but it was something he was able and willing to do for 2021, which really made a difference between being, an increased budget to a 0.5% decreased budget, really. So I just wanted to mention that it was very appreciated.
I know we learned a lot through this experience with COVID about remote, working and so on. I wonder how much impact the budget has with the meals, lodging, and travel on all the seminars and conferences that we see that, that will be continued beyond this COVID experience. So that'll be an interesting thing to see if they come back with the frequency and popularity that they had before in terms of travel and lodging and so on. So that has to be, and Don Ryan, your predecessor, used to say drops fill the bucket. And, those would be a lot of drops that we've seen by having people Zoom in and rather than travel to Penn State and so on.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of decreases in the dues and convention, and lodging line and fuel for this coming year. But that may just be because departments expect that, well, we'll be back to normal at some point. But you might be right, Commissioner. There may be a different normal that involves, a lot more remote because it's more efficient. When I have a meeting in State College, it's all day. I mean, you've got 2 hours of driving to and from, and 2 or 3 hours of meeting while you're there, and that's the day. So much prefer maybe a 2-hour meeting that's on Zoom, and you get right back to your desk again.
And I'm sure the state will analyze those numbers because they reimburse us a lot of that money. And if it's saving them money, I think that you're right. You're going to see more of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So,
all right.
Okay.